Welcome. We will wait a little bit just to allow everybody to come in. But today we are doing a Ask Me Anything session, a career in cybersecurity with Yasmin. So I'm super excited just because obviously it's amazing to see women of color killing it in the tech industry. Can you hear my notifications going off?
I could hear that.
Okay, so let me turn that off because we all know that emails don't stop when you go on live. All right. So we'll just wait for everybody to kind of trickle in. We are on the dot at 5 o'clock. I'm
Yeah.
usually running on my own time, so I always come in a little bit late, but I'll give everyone like a couple minutes.
Yeah, especially because I feel 5 o'clock is the time where everyone's wrapping up from.
Absolutely. Yeah, people are wrapping up what they got to do. And I know we're doing some blast posts in our Slack channel, inviting people to come through right now. Um, So if anyone's watching from our Slack, make sure people know to come through that we are on. And we are actually on time today. So tell them we're waiting. Oh, I see a lot of notifications. Okay, cool. All right.
Should we start at 5:05?
Yeah, we can start at 5:05. I usually start five after.
Okay.
Um, whether it's on purpose or not, I'm usually a little late around 5:05. So yeah. And if any of my team members are online right now, if we can just give a quick nudge to our Slack community, let them know that we're online and we are live now, that would be great. So, how was your day so far?
It's been good putting out some fires at work. I'm on call this week, so it's been a little bit hectic. But nonetheless, it's all good.
Yeah, of course.
How was your day?
Mhm. It's been pretty good. No fires to put out today. I think I've worked on those throughout the week, but I haven't had anything today, so I'm excited about that. It's been a pretty chill Thursday, so I'm
That's good.
happy.
That's good. Friday Junior.
Yes, Friday's Eve is actually really nice. Nothing too crazy going on.
Do you have any fun plans for the weekend?
I don't, not really actually. I don't do much. I have my daughters and I don't really do much. Let me
Yeah.
see. Oh, okay. It says we have 20 people on. I don't see that on here, so I apologize, y'all, for having y'all wait because I don't see it here. But if y'all can just shout out like where you are tuning in from, we always love to do a city and state roll call. So shout out your city, where are you tuning in from, and also what function in tech. It could be technical or non-technical that you're focusing on. Whether you're in product, software engineering, customer success roles. I'm a recruiter, obviously. I focus on talent acquisition and connecting. But yeah, just shout it out so we can see some of those roll calls coming through in the chat, so we know who's listening in, and we can continue to tailor our conversation based on who is watching today. So I love to do a quick round of introductions. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Shannon Morales, aka the Tech Career Plug. I'm also the CEO and founder of Tribaja, your modern day work tribe. We're a talent marketplace and community specifically focused on helping underestimated talent break into tech and startup careers. We have about 150 plus inclusive partners on the Tribaja platform, as well as partnerships with amazing training providers. And just go check it out, trabaja.co. It's completely free to sign up. And we love to do sessions with professionals that are out there killing it in the tech space that can also provide you with some type of information as well as experiences, so you can learn from their experiences about, what they do in tech to see if it can also inspire some of you out there. So Yasmin, feel free to introduce yourself and, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Yasmin ABDi, and I am a security engineer at Snapchat. I've been at Snap for a little, I would say almost 3 years. Before Snap, I worked at Instagram for a little bit and Google as well. I went to the University of Maryland and I studied computer science with a focus in cybersecurity. And I also minored in technology, entrepreneur, and innovation. So, yeah, a little bit about me. I'm really excited to meet all of you guys in here, kind of talk a little bit about my journey in tech as a software engineer and then transitioning into security engineering, and just be a resource for you guys as best as I can.
Yeah, I love it. So, everyone in the chat, you're more than welcome to start, sharing your questions now. I, of course, am going to share some of my questions that I normally share in the beginning. We have Minneapolis here. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. Atlanta, Jeremy. I'm in Georgia right now, so I think a couple of us are going to Bar Vegan if you want to join us. Bryce from Washington, D.C. All right, Bridget is in Atlanta as well. We have people in LA. She said, Grace said she's trying to break into tech, into a security analyst role. So Yasmin, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get started? How did you know that you wanted to kind of be a professional in tech? Just because I know a lot of our journeys, like we never saw ourselves in tech. And so that wasn't like the first career that we decided to get into. So tell me a little bit about what made you decide that you wanted to be a software engineer, because I know that was your first opportunity in tech.
Yeah, absolutely. I started off not really knowing much about tech when I began this journey. When I was 18, my dad was like, "You're going to study computer science. You're going to study cybersecurity." And I was like, "Okay." I was good with tech, like growing up all my life, building computers and like playing around with like TVs and all of the technology in my house. So when my dad kind of like forced me to study this thing, I said, let me just give it a shot. So I took my first class at University of Maryland, not having any prior experience. So for everyone that's like, oh, I've never done this before, I don't really know, this is brand new. Like that was me like 5-ish years ago. So I took my first class. It was pretty hard. I won't lie about that. But I just really knew that I wanted to be challenged. I knew that there was job security upon graduation. So yeah, that was like kind of the beginning. And after my first year within computer science at Maryland, I got my first internship at Snapchat. And that really opened up the doors for me. I had an amazing summer internship experience. I learned a lot. And I really enjoyed the experience that I had at Snap. So after that first summer, I went back to school sophomore year, really energized and excited about continuing to learn more about computer science and software engineering. The pay was really well. As an intern, I made some good money, and I knew that, like in terms of financial freedom, like this would be a path that I wanted to go down into. So then second year, I returned back to Snapchat for another internship. And that's kind of when I started thinking about, okay, like what within software engineering or computer science do I really want to focus on? Because if you know, computer science is a pretty broad industry. And I knew that like I was really interested in cybersecurity. My dad kept having this buzzword around me. So I started researching and looking into it. And it was then that I did my second internship at Snapchat on a security focused team, and fell in love with everything around cybersecurity. So went back to school junior year, got my internship at Google. And then following that, I got an internship at Instagram. And it was that second summer that I had a security internship that I knew that was the path that I wanted to go down into. So yeah, it was kind of my journey. And then upon graduation, I started full-time at Snap on that security team. And I've been on that same team since.
So what can you attribute your success to? You said you landed an internship at Snap and then at Google and then at Instagram. Those are all obviously like big names, big tech brands that a lot of us aspire to eventually work at. So what do you think was like that one? Maybe it could be a few things that, attributed to your success, being able to land those internships so early in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I did, I'm not sure if there's any like college students on the call, but something that I did when I was an undergrad is I attended and I participated in a lot of fellowship programs. So one was Code 2040, another one was MLT, and both of those programs really help bridge the gap between minorities and tech companies. So essentially, what they would do is they would fly us to like a city for like a week or a weekend where these major tech companies would come into and have like panel discussions, like events. So I networked a lot. I my freshman year internship, how I got it actually was I reached out to a recruiter and at one of the events, and I was like, hey, I know I'm pretty early on, and I don't really have that much experience, but I'm willing to learn and I'm really excited to learn more about this space. So, hey, just like give me a shot and believe in me. So, I think just putting yourself out there and just really trying and believing in yourself is one thing. And then, secondly, I would say networking. The worst thing that could happen is someone will say no to you, but there's so much opportunity, especially in today's age and society. Tech is growing. Even if you're new and you think, oh, I don't have too much experience, tech is changing every day. So we're all learning. We're all learning the same things at the same time. Like me and you might learn the same thing tomorrow because there might be something new that comes out. So I think just always putting yourself out there and like networking is something that I would recommend to do.
So I know we always talk about, especially when you're a part of like cohorts and groups, we're always like driving home like the importance of like networking and like building your tribe of professionals that you can, really learn from, right? Because people around you are kind of like your cheat code. Like if they made mistakes before you, then that means like, okay, maybe I won't have to make that mistake because I learned from them. What was like some of the biggest tips that you have for like people who are networking in this space, like in tech, right? Is there a way to go about networking? Did you do it primarily through the programs that you were in, through the cohorts? Did you do a lot via LinkedIn? Did you reach out to recruiters? Like, just share a little bit of your tips on like, some of your secrets to networking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, this space is not diverse at all. So, recruiters will be reaching out to you a lot of the time. So, I think that these companies, these tech companies, they always claim like diversity and inclusion. So, they will be reaching out to you a lot of the time. But I would recommend is just going out and talking to recruiters and putting yourself out there, you're selling yourself. I think that's super important. So yeah, what I did personally is I just networked with a lot of people at these conferences. There's a lot of conferences that kind of help bridge the gap that I was mentioning. National Society of Black Engineering, NSBE's one, Afrotech is another. There's so many. South by Southwest is another. So there's a bunch of these conferences where the goal of these companies is to really bridge that gap. So they're looking for people like us to work for them. So yeah, I think at those events, selling yourself, passing out your resume, just that would be my advice.
I love that. And like you said, like you hinted on, Yasmin, is that like these companies are, out there looking for us, and so we have to do a really good job of just making sure that we have that brand, that personal brand on there on LinkedIn, letting people know like what we're looking for, right? Like what type of opportunities we're open to, and making sure that our resume and things like that hint towards, what we're able to do, what we're able to contribute to organizations. My first job in tech was at Adobe, and it was with someone had reached out to me, another, Latina, and she said, "Hey, would love for you to apply for this role." And I got it, and I was like, "Wow, that is amazing." So here I am today, being, on the other side of the table, giving others opportunities that look like me. So I'm really excited about that. We
Yeah,
have, go ahead.
I was just going to say to add on to that, for anyone who's interested in working at Snapchat, we have an apprenticeship program where we're looking for Black and Brown students or Black and Brown people who might have a year or less in experience in the industry. And essentially, what that program does is it gives you like a 9 month kind of like foreshadow of what it would be like to be a software engineer in the industry and at Snapchat. So that's just a program. I know that a lot of other companies have programs similar to that. LinkedIn does. I think like Twitter and Uber do. So a lot of these tech companies have programs where if you don't have experience and you want to have like a 9-month experience of what it would be like to work in the industry, you can sign up for one of those programs. So if you're interested in the one at Snapchat, you can reach me on LinkedIn and I can help plug you in.
Yeah, I love that. That is so amazing. And is the apprenticeship program, can it be for those who have non-traditional pathways into tech, like those who graduated from boot camps and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually what we're focused on looking for. So we're not really looking for the people who had the 4-year computer science experience. It's people who have non-traditional backgrounds, maybe was in sales, marketing, and now trying to venture into tech, or had boot camp experience, or just built projects and know how to code. So it's really those people that don't have traditional 4-year experience that we're trying to bring on.
Yeah, I love it. When I get like, an extra couple of hours a day, I'm so going to try and learn how to code just because I think there's so much value to be able to like, bring your own projects to life. Like I'm always struggling when I'm building products. I'm like, okay, if I just knew how to customize this with code, I would be straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to add on to that, like a lot of people ask me the question of how to start, like where can I start? How do I get my foot in the industry?
Mhm.
There is so many online courses that you can take. Coursera, Udemy, like LinkedIn Learning actually is another opportunity. So yeah, I think one of the first things that you can do if you are interested is just go on one of those platforms and take a couple classes and learn to start, and then just really practice. You know what they say, you practice makes perfect. But when it comes to coding and it comes to software engineering, that's primarily like one of the most important things. If you put it down for a while and come back like 2 weeks later and you're in the introductory phases, it's gonna be a little bit more challenging. So I would definitely say practice and try to find and like form a community of people that are like-minded, that also have the same interests that you can learn from, just to go back and forth, share ideas. So I think community really did help me in my early stages. And then again, like find a mentor. I think mentorship is super important. I have had mentors my whole journey, and I still do have mentors, and I have mentees too. So if anyone is in the early stages, I can also help and provide some insight there. Um, yeah, so I think those are some of the things. I would also say join a boot camp, like you said. Non-traditional backgrounds are well accepted in today's society. So join a boot camp. There's so many out there. And yeah, I think those are probably the 4 things I would say. If you're interested in starting, um, try one of those options that I just mentioned.
Yeah, and I can also, Yasmin, I can also share. We have a mentor list through Tribaja, and if you wanted to add yourself and open yourself up to conversations with the tribe, I'm more than happy to facilitate that. Grace had a question, so I'm going to just pull it up on stage. And Grace wants to know, could we write courses of Udemy on our resume? So I'm guessing she's just saying, like, can you add like doing Udemy courses on your resume? Do you think that that would be something that would
Yeah,
be?
absolutely. So I think from what I remember on Udemy, they have like different programming languages, and then like within the program language, like specific like data structures and algorithms. So essentially, what companies are looking for when you are applying to become a software engineering is those two important things. Data structures and algorithms. So once you take those courses on Udemy or Coursera or whatever platform you choose, I would just simply take that like phrase, algorithms or data structures, and put that on your resume. And that's like all that the recruiters or like the interviewers are looking for. So yeah, that's it. You can also add like object oriented programming, or if you did something specific within software engineering, like machine learning, natural language processing, cybersecurity, anything more specific. But essentially, like data structures and algorithms is like the main thing that they're looking for to get into the door.
Yeah, I love that. So, audience, please feel free to start letting the questions roll in. You're a little quiet today. This is not like y'all. It might be because at 5 o'clock everyone's just kind of relaxing and kind of watching this. And I appreciate that. But let's get a little engagement, share some questions. But I also think that Yasmin's doing a really good job of just covering everything that you all would have asked anyway. But feel free to just ask away so that we can answer these questions for you while she's here. Yasmin, I wanted to get into a little bit about the other side of your journey, which is your founder journey or your entrepreneurial journey. You shared a little bit in your bio about working on a side project and being able to exit that with a team. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and how was that like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, me and some of my friends started a company called Mimo. So, the CEO and CTO of Mimo was actually the directors of search at Snapchat when I was interning. So that's another reason why you should always network and always just talk to people. You don't know what and where that will get you down the line. So, had a really great relationship with them, my internship, and a couple years later, they reached out to me on LinkedIn and was like, "Oh, hey, we're starting this company. We remember that you were so good at what you were doing. Like, we'd love for you to join." So yeah, I think this was around like 2019. We started Mimo, and Mimo essentially is a social finance app for you and your friends. So it would offer automatic rewards and personalized rewards based off of your financial and your spending habits and your recent habits. So think about this: like, we gathered all of your data from how you would spend, and then we would give you insights on like what it would look like in the future. So say you went to Chipotle like 10 times in the past month, we have that data. We would actually give you credit because we have that insight. And then you could send that credit to a friend if they also like had the same insight as you. So I think that that was a really cool idea. It had a lot of potential. You would be able to also categorize how much you spend in certain categories. But we built this idea during COVID, and if you could only imagine, the spending habits in COVID were just unlike the typical spending that you would do pre or post COVID. I don't know if I could say post COVID yet because we're still kind of in this pandemic, but yeah, so because of the way that people were spending money during the pandemic, we didn't really have too much insight, and the insight that we were like gathering before just wasn't the best. So we ended up selling that to Coinbase, and that technology is now owned by Coinbase. So yeah, I mean that experience really taught me a lot. If anyone is interested in startup life, I would recommend it. It's a great opportunity for you to become versatile and just learn a bunch of different skills. I was a product manager one day, I was a security engineer a day, I was in marketing the next day. But yeah, I think that overall, like that experience really made me well rounded, and it just helps in the future.
Yes, I love that. Let's get to Bryce's question. And then we're going to go back to the entrepreneurship because I'm actually really interested in that part. So, Bryce wants to know, do you have any tips on breaking into cybersecurity? My resume looks okay with InfoSci, cybersecurity courses, and class projects, but I know I can do more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say like one of the most important things that would just help you get your foot in the door is probably getting some certifications. So I would begin with like Network Plus or Security Plus. Those are primarily the intro level certs to cybersecurity. I also would say just maybe reaching out to see if you could get an internship at like a local tech company. I know a lot of the times, if you do have those certifications, they will let you and kind of like help you learn along the way. So yeah, I think starting off with just like Network Plus and Security Plus certs and building your way up from there. Also just like reading. Like a lot of the time, a lot like what I did when I was in the beginning is I read a lot about cybersecurity news. I had a mentor. We would just talk about it all the time, and just getting yourself really involved in that space, joining a community of like-minded cybersecurity people, going to cybersecurity conferences, taking courses in cybersecurity, like all of those things help. And that's some of the stuff that I did. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, and I can't, Mukhtar, sorry if I mispronounced. What cybersecurity skill sets do you use in day-to-day work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess I didn't really talk much about what I do at Snap. I can talk a little bit about that. So one of the main things that I own at Snap is whenever we are looking to acquire a company in terms of like acquisitions, like our mergers and acquisitions, we want to make sure that they're not bringing any vulnerable code into our ecosystem at Snapchat. So we put them through a security assessment. So essentially what I did is I helped create the security assessment, which has a set of standards and policies that they have to comply before they integrate with our systems. So what that actually looks like, what the assessment actually looks like is one, we start off with like an architecture review. So a layout of the company system, seeing how the data flows between the different environments that they're using. So once we do that, we kind of look at an analysis of the attack surface. So what domains do they own? What external IPs do they have? So here we're just looking to see what security features that they currently own and like how best that we could protect it once they do integrate. Another thing that I do is I analyze source code. So I look into see the company's source code and see, do they have hard coded credentials? Do they have any crypto keys? Do they have any other like secrets that are hard coded in their source code? Because that's just not a good security practice and shouldn't have that happen because it's easily able to be hacked. So then, yeah, looking to see different types of vulnerabilities and make sure that they're not bringing anything. So once I have that assessment done, I give them a list of usually stuff that they need to fix before they can integrate in our system, and then help work with them to fix those tasks that we found from the assessment, and come up with like a post-assessment plan to make sure that when they do integrate, everything is good to go and there's no vulnerabilities that they're bringing into Snap.
Okay, that is all for all our techie professionals out there, because that went right over my head, but I'm sure the audience knows exactly what you mean. So, Shui wants to know, is programming necessary for cybersecurity?
That's a good question. So I think that programming is definitely going to help you in cybersecurity. It's not necessarily necessary for cybersecurity. I think that it only help you, it won't hurt you. Like I said, some of the security plus, network plus, some roles within cybersecurity that I didn't really speak too much into. You could become a product manager, you can become a program manager, or you can become someone who looks at just like logs all day. You can work on policy. There's so many branches within cybersecurity that are not, hey, I'm looking at code all day and I'm coding. So it just really depends on what aspect or what job that you're looking in within cybersecurity, if you will or will not need programming. So if you're trying to do application security, and application security is just looking at the app and testing or penetration testing, or, I'm saying a lot of buzzwords, so I'm trying to like not do that, but it just depends. I think that at the end of the day, it just depends what role you're trying to look for. And if it is one of the more application security, corporate security, or production security roles, that would require programming. But if you're doing just like analysis or policy or like program management within security, you wouldn't need programming for that.
Honestly, I think our community geeks out to all the buzzwords that you mentioned. Just me being a recruiter, not so technical in the space. I, of course, am. This might not be my forte, but I think most of the audience here are aspiring to be in cybersecurity. I saw some people are looking to be a security engineer like yourself, or a security analyst. So I think this information is very valuable. They're going to need to know these buzzwords regardless when they're going out there trying to secure that bag in cybersecurity. So Monica has a really great question. We only have about 2 minutes left, and I think I'm about to get kicked out of this space. So they close at 5:30. So we're going to go and head on over to Instagram Live on Tribaja.co, and we're going to answer Monica's question about what are some similarities between cybersecurity and software engineering. So I'm just gonna end this live, and then I will get back onto Instagram Live in about 2 minutes. So Yasmin and everyone, it's at Tribaja.co. So just go to our. I don't know if we can. I don't know if it does it directly through here, but it's just at Tribaja.co. It's literally our website without the www. Oh, I can do it now. Cool.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys on Instagram in a little bit.
We will see you on IG. See you soon. Bye, y'all.